What's up? We're back. Episode 2 of the football show. Chev, how you doing?
Hey, we got week 1 in the books. We got action. And, it might be time to panic on this side of the dirt, or maybe you hold your water.
Maybe. So today we're going to focus on, we got a little Caleb Williams talk, a little JJ McCarthy talk, a little Chiefs talk, might catch a little Panthers in there. Then we're going to talk about a couple of the bottom teams in the power rankings right now. It's early for that, so I don't want to get too caught up in it, but on the Monday show, we're going to do the top 10 rankings. On the Wednesday show, we'll do like the bottom 5 to 10 worst teams. So, little negatives, little positives. So let's jump right into it, man. Is Caleb cooked? Caleb Williams, obviously, we were referring to in this one. Caleb Johnson, maybe he's cooked too. But Caleb Williams right now, we've seen a year from him, but that year he was basically hanging out with, the janitor in a dark room, cutting up reel to reels. Now we've got a real football coach in here, first year as a head coach. We saw some head coaching mistakes from his head coach in his first appearance. It's a lot more going on than just being the OC, right? So these are all things we have to take into account into this first game. Now, the guy he was playing was basically a rookie as well, quote unquote. And part of the detriment of this is that it was on Monday night, and the other guy came back and won the game, whereas Caleb was good in the beginning and wasn't good at the end. So a lot of negatives on Caleb. I would say I came away from this slightly more concerned than going in, right? There was some good stuff, but then there was some negative stuff. So what's your opinion right now on Caleb Williams and this Bears team kind of moving into week 2 and beyond?
It's fine. This is fine. So the thing with Caleb is, that first 15 when it was really vanilla and Brian Flores was kind of, when we were on the phone, I was like, hey, this was kind of a boxer. They're feeling each other out in the early rounds. And, Brian Flores was getting a feel for Ben Johnson. He's obviously familiar with him from facing him divisionally, but getting a feel for how he wanted to call the plays. And Caleb started off like gangbusters. I mean, he was taking the easy stuff, and that first 15 script was hitting like blue magic. So I think that, like, as the game went on and Brian Flores started to turn the knobs and turn the pressure up, he started to figure it out. Then we started to see a little bit of the flaws and things, that those old habits started to creep in. And I think because we know at this point Caleb is a staunch believer in himself, it's probably going to take a while for him to really just settle in and buy fully into the system and the details and the way that Ben Johnson wants this thing run. I think with Jared Goff, you had an established veteran who had already been knocked down as a former number 1 overall pick. And that brings a level of humility that I don't think that, I think it's going to take a while for Caleb to develop the trust that, he showed at USC with Lincoln Riley, but also he's able to do things that other quarterbacks can't do. And that's the part that's so tantalizing, is
right
when we've got him off structure, it can be phenomenal. The problem is he's missing the layups. He's not taking the easy stuff. He's missing throws high, or he's not putting touch on it, or his receiver's throwing his hand up in the middle of the play instead of running the route out. It's just, we have to allow room for grace. Like, this wasn't going to be the final iteration of the Lions offense that just coming out of the gate. It's like, yeah, did Ben Johnson probably get better as a play caller? Yes, over the course of those 3 years, but Rome wasn't built in a day. And writing Caleb off because this was not an ideal performance. He's fine from a fantasy perspective, but from a real life quarterback perspective, he left a lot of us wanting to see him do the big boy quarterback things, like being responsible and taking the check down, not, getting rid of the ball. So there's room for growth. I think that it's going to be better. But even then, when Ben Johnson was the offensive coordinator, they started out 1-7 that year.
Yeah.
So this could get off to a slower start, and that's okay. You got to be a thermostat, not a thermometer. You've heard me say this time and again. Alex, you made a great point here. There's like, you don't have any of your like Loveland wasn't really involved. Burton was barely involved. Like we just, this is not, again, I treat the first couple weeks of the season like the preseason anyway. So yeah. I'm not panicked, but I definitely wanted to see more of what I think Caleb Williams' ceiling is, but we just got like a regular flawed performance.
Yeah, exactly. When you draw Brian Flores on the first matchup, again, and I'm not trying to make excuses for anybody, but I am trying to contextualize all this stuff that just took place, right? When you draw Brian Flores as your first matchup of the first year of your first scheme with the first iteration of what you're trying to do as the new Bears, that stinks. Flores is going to make a lot of quarterbacks have just a nightmare on the sideline for many matchups this season, right? And I think a big thing, like you mentioned it, the Lions were 1-7 at one point with Ben Johnson calling the plays or whatever. Like the Lions or the Vikings won 14 games last year.
Yes.
Like that's the part that we're disconnecting here, right? Like the Vikings have turned the page into being a good team. Now, we were unsure of what the quarterback play was going to be, and for a while it didn't look good, and we'll get to that side. We got JJ coming up next. But the Bears are trying to turn the page to establish themselves as a good football team. And they're not there yet. So I think, like you said, there was a lot more ratcheted up pressures, and he started to take away some of the easy stuff in the second half. Brian Flores did, right? So he was kind of making him force those throws. If Caleb hits 2 or 3 of those throws that we wanted him to hit, that we all saw, we're not really having much of a conversation today, right?
Correct.
Can he do that? I don't know. I would assume so. But what happened is you had a guy who this whole time at USC played off structure because his offensive line sucked, and he's always been the best player. Then last year, like I said, he's watching film in the dark room with the janitor, So he's going back to his roots and playing off script and playing backyard football. And then when the pressure got ratcheted up in that second half, I think he went right back to his old roots. That's not going to be drilled out of you in one off season. It's just not. Correct.
Yes.
And you got to be under fire. And so, definitely more concerned than I was going in. I was hoping for more, resolve from Caleb, and he was trying to get it done. It just, it didn't happen. Unfortunately, with a guy like Caleb Williams, there's so many people who anytime you go in anything that Caleb Williams and you go into the comment section, every other comment's about his fingernails, right? And just people who just want to hate this guy, right? That you guys are so insecure about your own manhood that you're worried about what the fuck he's doing. Like, I mean, it's not my favorite thing, but I don't care. Like
we're both, I'm 40, you're 37. Like, we grew up in an era where that was completely unacceptable, but we're adults. Like, who gives a shit?
Yeah.
He threw the ball well enough to be crowned the best player in the country as a collegian.
Right.
Yeah. Does that mean that he doesn't have flaws? No. But again, you have guys that sometimes it's going to take a little bit longer to develop. He did he did himself. The organization did him no favors by giving him the run out of Shane Waldron and Matt Eberflus as his first coaches. So I just, there's not enough evidence that he can't play. Again, we're talking about 3,500 yards, 20 touchdowns, 6 interceptions. And he's creative. He's able to keep plays alive with his legs.
Yeah.
So drawing Brian Flores, who is one of the most diabolical minds in the game today, just he's sending, he's mugging the line of scrimmage, putting 6 or 7 people on the line of scrimmage, and then rushing 4. And then just everybody's moving around. It's like one of those things where you turn the lights on in the kitchen and roaches go everywhere. You're like, what the fuck just happened? And you still gotta focus in, say, hey, I've got to get the ball over here. Like, this is where the ball should go. It's like, wait, the pre-snap said I should go. It's just a lot, man.
Right.
So I think this Detroit team is going to be a better test because they're more aligned to under Aaron Glenn. I have to go back and see what the MO was under Kelvin Shepard, but under Aaron Glenn, they were going to play a whole lot of trap coverages, man, like cover one, a whole lot of man coverage. So this should be a more straightforward look to where he just has to deliver the ball on time and his receivers have to win, as opposed to having to sort through a bunch of stuff pre-snap and then it completely changing and exploding and maybe melting his brain post snap.
Right. Two things, and we'll move on to JJ McCarthy, and maybe we'll end up doing a few more. But one, if you go through like this first week, and I mean, at the end of the day, Bo Nix didn't play well.
Right.
Drake May didn't play well.
Correct.
Jaden Daniels really didn't play all that well. I mean, you know,
Nick's got the win.
Nick's got the win.
Right.
You know, Jaden Daniels got the win, but those guys have equity built up with everybody right now. So nobody cares that much, right? Whereas there's no equity built up for Caleb. You could crumble up and throw away that rookie season. I mean, he got the snaps and he played and got to see the speed of what is going on, but this round is basically a rookie. And it could sound like excuses, but it's not. And then the other big thing I want to really get on here is like, there was no run game. Like, this offensive line was supposed to be rebuilt, but it didn't show up that well in week one, this interior of that offensive line. Right. And again, played Flores. They rebuilt the interior of that defense. Hargraves was getting after him. I'm drawing a blank on the other interior player there that was getting after him. Grenard's obviously awesome, getting doubled. Yeah. So there's no run game, and so much of what Ben Johnson did over there was built off of a run game and a good offensive line. So I think all of those things can grow. And I saw some people really hating on Swift, and I'm like, I thought Swift was half decent in this game. He just didn't have anywhere to go. Like, I'm not worried about the running backs. I'm worried about them having room to operate, which they really didn't. And I'd like to see Monungai get mixed in a little bit more. But this is a good segue to kind of go into the JJ part of this, because I think that run game, the Bears defense was playing pretty well for a minute there. They were missing some key pieces, right? As far as, what they were trying to do. Right. And their number one corner was out.
Yeah. Jalen Johnson as well. Yep.
And another, maybe a safety. So they were missing, guys on multiple levels that are high level players. Again, it's the NFL. You're going to have, but the Vikings are also missing, their left tackle, right? He wasn't ready to come back yet. And, but what they did is they eventually got a run game going.
Correct. And
the tide in this game, to me, started to turn once Mason was popping some off, and you were getting some throws to Aaron Jones, and you were just loosening things up a little bit. And you saw McCarthy just get more comfortable as that was happening. And dude, I think the way we saw, both of us texted each other and was like, dude, the battle from JJ McCarthy from what we just saw was awesome. Never my favorite guy, but what just took place was very similar to what took place at Michigan. So he should feel very comfortable with how that just went down. Now, the throws he made were fucking on point. Like, he was fantastic. And to bounce back from all of that stuff, that's quite the feather in your cap game one, right? So, you juxtaposed to what happened with Caleb. Again, though, this Vikings organization is a winner now, and is ready to go. And but that I don't want to detract anything from how good of a quarter JJ McCarthy had there. But that run game, I think, was so crucial in moving JJ forward. So just tell me your opinion on JJ and this Vikings team kind of moving forward, and where, because this definitely made me. I'm not going to go be like, oh, I'm moving JJ way up my rankings and I have the most trust in him ever right yet. Obviously this is a long season, but definitely had to put some respect on the name, right?
I wasn't a JJ guy. I'm gonna be honest with you. I've not been a huge fan. One of the first shows that you and I did together from a fantasy perspective, I said that they're giving him the ball because they paid a guy a bunch of money, a bunch of guaranteed money, and never really got out of the divisional. I mean, I know they won one or two games, but they never. And then that guy gets hurt. They bring in Sam Darnold, and then they have, he has a career year, and that team is primed and ready to go. And you combine that with one of the best play calling minds, best offensive minds in the game. Like, we have to start evaluating Kevin O'Connell in the same vein. Not the same level of respect, but in the same vein as a Sean McVay, as a Kyle Shanahan, just a guy who's able to understand defenses and scheme and exploit those weaknesses. So with JJ McCarthy coming in, and it looked bad. And I was ready to victory lap. I was so ready for the clock to hit zeros, and I was about to fire off some nukes, indicting JJ McCarthy. But after that pick six, he was absolutely lights out. And you saw that everything, like everyone around him, nobody panicked, nobody was upset, nobody looked deflated or defeated. And he never lost belief. He didn't see ghost when things went wrong.
Right.
He owned it, and then he played lights out for the entire fourth quarter. So he didn't lose confidence. The moment wasn't too big. And I can't impress upon people enough how hard it is for a guy in his first NFL start to go on the road against a division rival and play like shit for 3 quarters. And then when it's time to turn it on, he turned it on and he was making plays. So the run game, like they finally settled into the run game. And, this isn't something that we talked about, but the run game looked much better with Jordan Mason than it did with Aaron Jones. Aaron Jones did catch the 36-yard touchdown or whatever it was, but it looked
anytime touchdown cashed.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I played that too.
Yeah.
So I'm encouraged because I think that if a guy can respond like that on the road in his first start, when you're able to actually get him in positive game scripts and things are going, and you get him comfortable and he gets confident, gets off to a hot start, you saw the arm talent, you saw the mobility. This could be like, I might have to just hold the L on this one because I think that he might be a guy.
Yeah. I wasn't like completely out. I just was like, I got to see. Let me see. And from like you said, 3 quarters in, it was like, dude, this is bad, but it's kind of what you expect from a guy playing his first go around. But like you said, what a great display of I think kind of, Big D was saying Kevin O'Connell's maybe his favorite new coach. Just so calm, perfect for development, leader of men, like just embodied what I feel like Kevin O'Connell kind of is and kind of puts out there. Right. And you kind of mentioned it. He comes from the McVay Shanahan kind of tree. And, there's very, that tree is looming over the NFL outside of like those guys. It's like Andy Reid of offensive innovation and,
right.
Not a ton else. Everything else kind of stems from that somewhat. I mean, I'm sure, you can find some other guys like, see where Kellen Moore gets to and some stuff like that. But man, shout out to the Vikings. That defense looks great. You get Darrisaw back. That'll be awesome. I love this combination of these 2 running backs. That's something they didn't have last year. That just gives them some oomph in there. Just Mason just really switches things up from a perspective of just adds physicality to this team.
Yes. He is a math changer. He's going to take care of the extra guy in the box that's unblocked, and that dude's not going to bring him down. So that's really exciting from a real football perspective for them to have like that hammer, thunder, and lightning. Because it seems like they caught on the touchdown catch. They just kind of caught the Bears with their pants down, and Aaron Jones is wide open on a wheel in the back of the end zone. I mean, going in the end zone.
Yeah. So impressed with JJ week 1 for sure. Excited to watch him week 2. And we'll kind of take it from there. So, again, I'm not going to get over my skis on either one of those guys, but you come away with the national, no favors to Caleb if that was a 1:00 game, people would still be a little more, would be burying him somewhat.
Island.
Yeah. When those island games, man, when it doesn't work out for you, that changes the court of public opinion so damn fast. And when you're already teetering one way or the other, it could put a nail in the coffin for a lot of people really quick. But again, week 1, a lot of lying going on out there after week 1. I think we saw some truth and some lies in this game, just like all the rest of them, right? So let's keep it moving. Let's go over to the Chiefs. Before we do, we got a new sponsor, ProfitX. Use promo code FFD when you go and downloading the app. If you're not already in there, what are you waiting for? ProfitX is America's #1 sports prediction market. It's a peer-to-peer sports prediction market where players play against each other instead of sportsbook versus the house. You almost always get better price and spread on money lines and totals and player props since you're playing against people rather than the book. It looks just like a sports book, but with way better odds. We've been kind of showcasing it. Been really enjoying getting used to ProfitX. It's a little different than your standard sports book here. We got some options in the Washington game here coming up on Thursday night. You anything sticking out to you for that game? What do you like? You like Bill in this game? Green Bay maybe a little banged up here.
I'm going to tell you, I like Zach Ertz over 3.5 receptions.
Okay, let's look at receptions here. Zach Ertz over 3.5.
Yeah.
What makes you lean that way?
I think that this is going to be a game where they're trying to get the ball out of Jaden Daniels. They're trying to get the ball out of Jaden Daniels' hands as quickly as possible. That pass rush was absolutely overwhelming for the Packers last week. Rashawn Gary, Michael Parsons is going to play more snaps. The interior, Devontae Wyatt, that Packers front, and plus, I just think that with the way that Joe Hafley sims pressures, and it's just going to be an easy button for him to just be able to dump the ball off to Zach Ertz. So I really like Zach Ertz this week. I also like Debo because like 20% of Terry McLaurin's, or not Terry McLaurin, but Jaden Daniels' targets last year were at or behind the line of scrimmage. And that's where Debo thrives. Like he's going to create everything after the catch. So my favorite is Zach Ertz over 3.5 receptions. And then I would also be willing to play Debo Samuel. I'd take that up another like 5.5 or over 6.5.
Yeah. You can't go up yet. Now with this site, you can change your odds, you can pick your things, and then you can put whatever kind of odds you want and see if somebody takes the other side of it. That's the fun part about peer-to-peer. You could even get your homeboy on there and be like, hey, let's put it on here. What do you think? Let's slide it over. Yeah, let me get the better plus 105 instead of the 110 like at a traditional sports book. That's going to be your, just less juice in this overall a lot of the times on different things. So get familiar with ProfitX. Go download it. Use promo code FFD. Help your boys out. Appreciate you. All right, let's get back to it. Let's jump in. I want to talk about the Chiefs a little bit. I feel like when you've been the king for so long, people just preying on your downfall. It's a cute story until you win too much, and then people are just like, the run. Every time that something happens, this is the window slamming shut. And we got a little bit more of that chatter here. And obviously LA came out and super impressive with their up and coming great quarterback. I think Herbert was his coming out party of being up there with the elite of the elite. So I guess in general, do you think the Chiefs have any real problems here moving forward? Obviously you came in and we were so excited about this offense going back to ripping the knob off to 30 because we knew Rice would have a suspension, but we have a guy in Royals who's a little banged up right now. Then you lose Worthy right away. And now it's basically only Hollywood out there. And I don't know if we're quite to the ghost of Kelsey yet. He still looked like he was okay. This game plan is going to be a little different coming in because you know what you're going to be at your disposal. Run game didn't look particularly well. I'd like to see a little more usage of Pacheco in there. So what do you think? I think the defense is still very, very good. I think Herbert was just on one. And they've got weapons everywhere. So any are the Chiefs kind of in trouble at all, or you see this as just a week one divisional opponent and the Chargers are for real?
Chargers are definitely for real. They already yielded the best scoring defense in the NFL last year, and they've basically reloaded the cabinet of weapons. They go and bring back Keenan Allen. Like, I think that they played a really good team, a team that's going to be a playoff team for sure. They were a playoff team last year. I think they can be a higher seed this year. They're going to challenge the Chiefs for the division. That's what I firmly believe. Chiefs played 9 one-score games last year. Mm-hmm. That's a big deal because usually the coin flips. Now, it hasn't over the course of the last 2 years because they have Patrick Mahomes, and he's the great eraser.
And a great defense.
Yeah, and a great defense. And
a great coordinator.
Well, they have everything that you want to make those to mute the statistical probabilities or however you want to look at it of regressing from usually when teams win a bunch of one-score games. This happened with the Vikings way back in the day, with Kirk Cousins. The year that they won 13 games and lost to the Giants, 2022, that's what year it was. I was struggling with that. But when you have a team that wins a ton of one-score games, usually it regresses and you don't win 9 one-score games in a year. The Chiefs weren't dominant at all last year. Mm-hmm. Let's be honest about that. Right. Their defense was excellent. and they won 9 one-score games. Not to say that they're going to lose 9 one-score games this year, but they're closer to the pack than we were giving them credit for, and that's why they got the shit beat out of them in the Super Bowl. They lost to a better team.
Yeah, certainly a bit more complete right now. I think the Eagles were in that matchup. Now the Eagles lose, an OC, and the Chiefs have gone through that somewhat, but their DC is stuck around, which I think has been a big part of their success. They had a DC who was an OC or who had a head coaching job, and then got kicked to the curb. So that's really helped sustain. He gets to pick his pieces, and then that system stays in place. So that defense, I think, is still going to be just fine. But yeah, Mahomes is exactly like you said, the great eraser. I think they're going to be competing, for a championship, just like always. I don't think we need to make any crazy moves right now. You're gonna regress a little bit to winning those one-score games here and there. You might drop 1 or 2. I think when the Avengers reunite here for them, I think there's going to be less one-score games, so their offense will continue. Unfortunately for the rest of the league, they have the best quarterback and a great defense, so they can get in these situations where they're banged up and don't have their best weapons, and can go in there and just find a way. That's all they do. They just figure it out one way or another. And it sucks to watch sometimes, and you can blame it on the refs and Taylor Swift and whoever the hell you want to blame it on. The fact of the matter is it's Patrick Mahomes. He's just entirely ridiculous to deal with. Now don't love the DB letting up and then you drop your shoulder into him. That kind of shit bothers me more than just about anything. Right. But it doesn't take that he's fucking awesome. So
yeah,
I'm with you.
I just the more I look at this, I'm like, okay, so they're just gonna play a bunch of close games, and then like even this past week, if you guys can remember that far back, teams just tend to put this pressure on themselves and make mistakes. Like the Chargers, case in point, they have lost those games traditionally by making small mistakes at the end of the half. I believe I was talking with somebody. I can't remember who I was talking with. I was like, the margin of error that you have is so thin to beat the Chiefs because, one, they're not going to beat themselves, and they have a guy who you put the ball in his hands, and it usually works out in their favor. So you have to minimize the amount of opportunities you give them, like going out of bounds during a 2-minute drill, just leaving opportunities. Right. Like those hidden opportunities, those yards that people don't talk about, those extra seconds that you leave on the clock, you have to be thinking, hey, not only do we have to execute at a high level, we can't leave those little breadcrumbs because you have a coaching staff, you have a team that's already won, that's expecting to win, and they're going to take if you give them an inch, they're going to take a mile.
Yeah, you got to cut their head off to beat them, right? Yes. That's really what that is. You leave any bit out there and they've got a chance, and it's like, man, you could do everything you can, try to drain the clock, and they got 40 seconds, and they somehow figure out a way to get a field goal. Right. You better be up by 8 with 40 seconds left, or 9 even.
Right. Like more than one score.
Right. So Philly is -1 in this one. You got to lean.
My heart would lean Philly, but it's just really hard for me in my big age in 2025 to see the Chiefs starting 0-2.
0-2, yeah.
I think they're in trouble though.
In this one? Yes. Yeah, I don't know. I think Dallas really didn't have much of a problem moving the ball against them. Obviously, sans Jalen Carter is a big deal. But I'm unsure of what this OC is going to bring. Jalen put the team on their back. I don't think Jalen's going to be able to have as much room to navigate with the Chiefs. They'll put a stop to that sooner. Like, I think Dallas did a good job adjusting to stop letting Hurts break their back. I think the Chiefs will adjust to that faster. I'll take the Chiefs +1, but I don't think that they're going to go 0-2, but I think Philly's got in the driver's seat in this one to potentially get him there. So
yeah.
Over under on Mahomes spitting on someone, or someone spitting on Mahomes. Go. We say bodily fluid is going to be kept to a minimum in this one. All right.
Yeah.
How about them Raiders? The Raiders were impressive. It's fun. This week is Pete Carroll versus Jim Harbaugh. How much more? How do these guys keep ending up playing each other? How much fun is that?
How much do these two dudes absolutely
Fucking
despise each other?
It's so good.
Just man, that is wow. Yeah, I forgot that they hate each other.
Yeah,
this is going to be great.
Yeah,
this is going to be old school AFC West, like just some straight up hatred. Now, these Raiders are way like we knew that they weren't going to be the shell of themselves that they were last year. We knew that. Pete Carroll does some kind of Jedi voodoo mind tricks and gets people to believe in the greater good. And those teams start performing really well. I thought the Patriots were going to win that game. Usually when a team travels from the Pacific time zone to the Eastern time zone for a noon kickoff, that doesn't work out very well for the Pacific time zone team. They were the tougher team. They're forcing turnovers. I'm interested to see how this works out. I just feel like there's going to be an air of tension and a sense of urgency that we don't really get to see. We hadn't gotten to see in this century from the Raiders for sustained periods of time.
Yeah. No, I'm pumped to watch Jim and Pete battle it out again, man. That's fun. So, all right. One more quick topic before we get out of here. I know you wanted to talk about maybe a little Chargers action. I was going to say, you same old Panthers or different Panthers right now?
Man, their defense is going to be horrible. They're going to be horrible again. Derek Brown had to be helped off the field. That's just, that was they literally allowed the most yards in the history of the NFL last year. They allowed 3,000 yards rushing and 4,000 yards passing. That didn't even seem like a real thing.
Yeah.
But that's how bad they were. But on the flip side, I'm telling you right now, if you guys have had a chance to tap in on the FFD Fantasy Redraft channel, I said it with my whole chest this week. Tetairoa McMillan is him. And this is not just from a fantasy perspective. My goodness. Some of the things that I watched, so I watched his all 22 and I came away, I've grown, in my evolution, like over the course of me appearing on the channel. My love for Tetairoa McMillan grew as time has gone on. And after watching the all 22, I'm convinced that dude's going to be a superstar.
Yeah, no, he was good when we had Joseph on and we did the episode from yesterday talking about Whopper and P Whopper, the predictive Whopper. He said Tet was right up there.
Such crazy, and it sounds so fucking crazy. I'm sorry.
It is. If you haven't checked it out, go check that one out. But Tet had a really episode, though. Tet had a good score. And Tet had a really good score in that. He wasn't on that list per se, but he liked the score from Ted on there, and he liked the score from Marv Harrison Jr. on the P Whopper. So make sure you go check that out. You want to do Chargers real quick, or you want to save that? And
we could do Chargers real quick, man. That's not a big deal. Like to elaborate on this point, like we talked about this earlier today. The Chargers quietly have shifted to a much more pass-centric offense with a guy with, you've got a $250 million quarterback. That changes things a little bit. And, Greg Roman is giving him more autonomy and, they're being more aggressive. Usually it's just been really, really very, very vanilla passing concepts that just they're not going to spark any sort of joy. But Justin Herbert is operating at an elite level. I said Pete Carroll has this thing where he gets guys to just believe in the greater good, and that's exactly what Jim Harbaugh does. And what he's done to the confidence of I've never seen Justin Herbert look that confident operating against a really good team.
Yeah,
like I was thoroughly impressed. I was impressed by the game that the Chargers called from a play calling perspective, putting Herbert in these positions to where, and then him just absolutely lacing nukes and layering balls into all over the field. So I want to keep an eye out to see if the Chargers are still like in those games that are more, neutral game script where they're not favored. If they're going to come out and throw the ball against a tough front, they're going to light people up, and this could be excellent for fantasy.
Yeah, no, this is like kind of, we're gonna build out like little segments throughout these football shows here. What to watch for would kind of be maybe this segment right here of like, hey, was this truth or false here, true or false? Which Chargers are going to show up here in week 2? Is it going to be the ones that we thought, they are who we thought they were, or is it going to be this new kind of Chargers? And we talked about it, and you referenced it. After the bye and injuries last year, they were this a little bit more of a throwing team. They bucked the trend. They threw it over 30 times, almost every game after what was it, week 6, week 9?
Week 6, I believe week 5 was a bye. Basically from week 6 on,
they were healthy, and
he was healthy because people forget he had the plate to start off in his foot for the plantar fasciitis thing. Then he gets a high ankle sprain or an ankle sprain against the Steelers.
Yeah.
When he got healthy and he looked like himself again, he was lacing it.
Yeah. And now they're just, and there'll be games where hey, they're winning and they can ride Najee and ride Omarion Hampton. And they certainly will have times where they do that. And there will be times where the matchup dictates, hey, we think we could just bully these guys around, and this is what we're going to do. And then we're going to take our calculated shots here and there, and it will decrease. But I mean, you can't put that horse back in the barn. I don't think if Herbert's going to be playing like that, you're going to go out there and just impose your way on everybody else. I love what the Chargers are doing. I love what we're seeing over there. So we're going to take it over to Patreon right after this and answer, fantasy questions, but football show live Wednesday, football show live Monday. We're going to be doing those all season long. Let's end with power bottoms here. We do the power rankings on Monday. We do the top 10, top 12. Well, let's do like the bottom 5 here. I feel like it's hard to really throw the worst teams in here. I don't want to be, because we don't really know anything all that much. We bring up the Saints multiple times over the offseason, and like they won 2 games last year, beat 2 decent teams in the first couple of weeks. So, the old Scott Van Pelt poop town is we're gonna go power bottoms here. So these are the bottom 5 teams that I've got right now. So I'm going. This was actually a little tougher than I thought it would be to get in here, but I'm gonna go Patriots at 28. I'm going to go your Titans at 29. I'm going to go
not last.
I'm going to go Carolina at 30. G-Men at 31, and Miami was easy. Once I did, that was easy. So there's my bottom 5.
All right. So for me, it's I'll go 20, 28, 29. So the Saints are going to be 28. All right. My Tennessee Titans
27. So
yeah, my Tennessee Titans are there at 29. The Panthers are there at 30. The Giants 31, and the Dolphins 32. Just bad vibes in South Beach.
Yeah. So we got those are the bottom 5 teams right now. Again, a nod to SVP and Russillo back in the day. It used to be Poop Town, and I think they still do Poop Town. Actually, I just listened to the pod the other day. They definitely still do Poop Town. Then there used to be Ham Sandwich. That was all like the mid teams because that was like, yeah, you're never mad about a ham sandwich, but you're not like, oh my God, I can't wait to have that ham sandwich. So we're gonna be doing power rankings all year long here, just having some fun at the end of these episodes. Make sure you're tuned in Mondays live every Monday, 11 a.m. Eastern. We're going to be doing the first football show of the week, and then 9 a.m. or 9 p.m. Eastern Wednesdays. We're going to be doing the other live football show. Chev and the guys have a little gambling pod that they're going to be doing on Fridays. It's going to be normally live, so be sure to check that out on this channel. And then if you're not already subscribe to FFD Fantasy to get all the redraft stuff on the YouTube side. FFD Radio has everything on the podcast side, got extra pods, and got all the redraft pods going down over there. So lots of different things to check into. And we have the dynasty content. We record that Monday night and Tuesday night. We're going to have Joseph on all year talking about the P Whoppers and stats you need to know. So we're getting a little bit number-based perspective through this season as well. And, we'll be talking about trade targets, moves to make, rankings, all that kind of stuff all throughout the season. So we got a mixture of everything going on here at the FFD. We're trying to build out this football show. We're really excited about it. We've really enjoyed doing it. It's something we've been wanting to do for a while. So this season we're going for it. So we appreciate you guys. We're going to head on over to Patreon. Chev, anything else before we get out of here?
Man, there's ball watchers and there's ball knowers. Assign yourselves accordingly. We'll see you on Patreon.
Peace.